Good evening, everybody, and to welcome tonight's live stream. We're very privileged to have Henry Port, who is the new media manager at Swindon Town, joining us a little later. And also our new singing sensation, Uduko Godwin Malfria. I hope I've got that right. He will now be known as Dokes. I'm not saying it again. So we will be joining them in a few moments. Just a couple of things. Fans Forum, we've still got places available for that. 16th of August, Wednesday the 16th. It's going to be a £5 donation to Derby Rimmer. So please come along. We've got Rob Angus. We have got Anthony Hall, who's the new head of stadium. We have got Jamie Russell, head of football. Mandy Coe, who is the women's head of football, and also Mike Flynn and Wayne Hatswell. So please come along to that. If you've got any questions, they can be asked in person at the event. Okay. And I'd also like to actually make a big announcement for Fools Rush In, who will be following us later on tonight. They had a live event on Friday. I was able to get along for a very short time. But they raised £1,700 on their auction and donations, which is an incredible amount, and that's going to the British Heart Foundation. So well done, guys, and please carry on doing what you're doing. Okay, so let's get Vic on now.
Hi, Chris.
Good evening, Mr. Morgan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much indeed. Very much looking forward to talking to Uduka Godwin Malife very shortly, and indeed to Henry as well. So it should be quite an evening. I've got some SAS travel news for you. Now, there's very limited availability for Wrexham a week next Saturday, of course. Spaces are available for Forest Green Rovers, but coaches need to be booked this week. So once full, there'll be no more available. SAS not open tomorrow for obvious reasons. We are at Peterborough in the League Cup, but they are open on Thursday in person at the County Ground or on the phone, and on Saturday from 1 p.m. at the County Ground. So seats are still available. And don't forget, if you are going to Peterborough on SAS Travel tomorrow, they are leaving the County Ground at 2:30. So that's when we go to London Road tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, brilliant. So should we get Dokes on? There we go.
Hello, guys.
Hi, very good evening.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Okay?
Yeah, we're all good. Been a busy day for you, all your radio interviews.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Bless you. Okay, so I'm going to leave you now. I'll leave you in Vic's capable hands. Any questions, please leave them in the comments. We'll get through as many as we can. Okay, and see you later.
Chris, thanks ever so much indeed. Thank you ever so much for joining us, because boy, you've been busy today, haven't you? Has this taken you by surprise? I mean, it's been a bit extraordinary, quite frankly. The amount of views that Charlie Austin's video has had has been incredible. Are you surprised by all this?
Yeah, really surprised, to be honest, and taken back, to be honest. But yeah, it's been a surreal feeling these last couple of days, and it's been some introduction as a Swindon Town player. But yeah, it's moments that I'll cherish, and they mean a lot to me.
Yeah, it's been a great deal of positivity about it as well, which must please you, because often in football there's a lot of negative stories, but this is an absolute positive one. So that's a great thing to have, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. It is nice to be involved in a positive story and see so many people come together and actually take notice and enjoy my singing. Sometimes when you sing and you listen to yourself sing, you don't, in the moment of time, you don't actually think you sound as good. But you know what? I've listened to it a lot over the last couple of days, and yeah, I'm taken back by it myself, to be honest. But yeah, I'm just delighted everyone's talking so positive about it.
Well, when I first saw it, somebody said to me, "Is this X Factor, or is this actually?" You know, I mean, these are big compliments you're getting, so you should take them on board. You've got a church background, and this is how it kind of happened, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I was raised in church. Sunday, me and my family, we'd go to church, and yeah, I just kind of like my mum loves singing, so then I just kind of like jumped on it as well, and then started singing in the church, and then I guess my vocals just developed in the church, and even now I still sing in the church every Sunday, and I still will do across the course of the season. If the game on a Saturday is not too far away, I'm not too tired, I still get up every morning and go and join in and sing at church. So it's something that I enjoy, and I'm a big believer in Christ, so it's wonderful for me.
Well, it's certainly brought a big positive for you, so that's fantastic. Tony says, "Welcome, Dokes. New song for the Town End." I mean, I think you're going to have to perform for the Town End at some stage this season. You know that, don't you?
Oh yeah, I've seen a few supporters asking if I can perform at the Town End. I need to get on board with some of the songs, so they're gonna have to send me some songs through that you guys sing on a match day.
Well, are you aware of the Wise Men Say song? Because that's obviously a bit of a theme tune for Swindon. Have you heard that one?
How does it go?
I'm not going to sing it, seriously. Wise Men Say, Only Fools Rush In. It's that one. Andy Williams did a great version of it. Look it up. And we'd love to hear your version, because you wouldn't want to hear mine, seriously. Maybe we'll get Henry to do it later, perhaps. Nick says, is he thinking of another career? I think you've got football to worry about first, haven't you?
I mean, first and foremost, I actually just want to get on the pitch. I want to showcase my ability, and hopefully the fans take a liking to what I can do on the pitch and what I can bring to the team. Obviously, that was cut short Saturday, but there's an opportunity, hopefully tomorrow, to be involved and play for Swindon Town.
How was Saturday? Because for those of us who went, it was a frustrating experience. We all got in the ground, and we knew it was kind of over when the referee dropped the ball on the floor and it didn't bounce. We kind of thought, well, that's that really. Then we got back on the bus and went home again. So what did you do after the game, apart from singing in the dressing room? What did you do afterwards?
Not too much, to be honest. Obviously, we dried off because we were as probably you fans were as well, soaking wet. Bit disappointing, but we just showered off and just headed straight back. Spirits were still high, do you know what I mean? But obviously, boys are disappointed not to play, because obviously everyone loves that first game feeling, and I'm pretty sure the fans have that exact same feeling. But like I said, the games come around quick in this division, and we've got a chance tomorrow to play some football, and hopefully that doesn't. Hopefully, whoever God knows for the weather, and we can kick off tomorrow.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but I think we got the gist of what you said. Here we are. Yeah. Ian says, hope he can play football as well as he can sing. Well, we'll find out in the next few weeks. Kevin says, I'm all dry now after Saturday, hoping to see you play tomorrow night. Well, you said you're involved. We'll leave it at that. Hannah says you can put his own concert on. Stephen says, welcome to the county ground. Looking forward to watching you play. And Jamie says, Elvis tribute next. So who knows? You're not unfamiliar with playing at Swindon, though, are you? Because if I was looking back in the records, and you kind of played in the last game before COVID at the county ground with Forest Green, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I played in that game, yeah. That was a tough game, to be honest. We was on a tough run at the time, and obviously coming to the county ground was a scary place to come to, because you had a terrific run going on. And I mean, at the time, it was a good result for us just before we broke off because of the COVID. But I remember that game. I remember that game well. I remember that game really well. It was a good game.
Yeah, I think you should know that we were top of the table for our ages. And then actually that defeat knocked us off the top of the table. So thank you very much for that. And then, of course, you played in your league championship year, didn't you? When the town actually did win that game, which was quite a battle, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, really battle. Really good showcase of football, that game as well. I remember that game fondly as well, because the fans weren't too happy with me that game. But let's hope they take a liking to me now anyway, now that I'm a Swindon Town player.
Did you have a little run-in with Johnny Williams, I seem to remember?
Yeah, something like that.
Right, so what will you bring to Swindon then? What are your strengths? Describe yourself as a player.
Yeah. I'd like to say that I'm a ball playing centre half, energetic centre back, who loves to get up and down the pitch, loves to drive, loves to step in with the ball, and a powerful runner. And also, I'd love to see myself as a real competitive defender that wants to defend and wants to deliver clean sheets in order for us to give us the best possible chance to win games.
Well, Claire says, what was your deciding factor in signing for Swindon? Good question. What was the deciding factor?
That's a good question. As you mentioned, I've played against Swindon over the years a few times now, and it's just the atmosphere for one. He's good, really good. Guys really get behind the boys. The style of football has always been good. It's never been too dissimilar. There's obviously a culture about the club trying to play football the right way. And of course, the manager who brought me in, Michael Flynn, he's just, I've never actually played under the gaffer, but I've always played against him, and he's always had nice things to say to me. He's always been an admirer of me. And I've been an admirer of him because especially when we lost in the playoff semi-final against his team, Newport, he was really nice to me, because obviously it was a tough way for us to lose that game. And he said some nice things to me after the game and wished me all the best, and said that I've got a brighter future ahead of me. And now coincidentally, me and him are working together.
Well, we really hope you have a great future with Swindon, clearly. Mark, with a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but it's quite an interesting one. Now you can enjoy a burger instead of a chickpea salad. But obviously, how will your diet change from Forest Green Rovers, as we know, a vegan-based club, now at Swindon? Does that change your diet at all, or do you stick with the one you had before?
It didn't change my diet. I mean, when I did join Forest Green, of course, it's a different style in terms of food, but we didn't have to eat that. It was whatever the club provided, that was going to be vegan based. If we wanted other stuff, we ourselves stuff, but anything the club provided was always vegan based. So for me, it doesn't really change my diet. I did try being a vegan for a bit, and you know what, there's a lot of benefits, surprisingly a lot of benefits, and yeah, it was good. It's not something I could maintain, but I tried it and I gave it an effort, and yeah, I did enjoy it, to be honest. But no, it doesn't change my diet at all, to be honest. I still have my particular regime, and I stick to that.
Fair enough. Dan says, welcome, Dotes. Gutted about Saturday. Really appreciate you boys coming over to the fans. It was a cold and soggy day in Colchester. It certainly was. I mean, the manager said he wanted everybody to go across. I'm sure you didn't take much persuasion, did you? Because everybody came over as one, didn't they?
Yeah, of course. And especially when the fans made such a journey to come and support you, even in the bad conditions, you got to acknowledge that. And yeah, as players, we acknowledge supporters, because without supporters, the club's nothing at the end of the day. So yeah, we went over and just gave our thanks, and obviously it was disappointing the game was off, but clapped the fans, and Jonah gave us a nice little sing song and chant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Let's have a look. Who's the toughest opponent you've faced in League Two, would you say?
Toughest opponent? Like as in team?
Yeah, as in team or player, either one really. Yeah.
The toughest. Well, yeah. Well, Swindon, of course, that time when you guys won the league, you guys had a really good team. And I'd say Cambridge as well. At the time, they had a good team when they had the likes of Wes Houlihan there, good player, really good player, and their team was ticking really well. So yeah, I'd say them too.
Okay. Mitch says, welcome. I was the woman shouting at you like a mad woman from the Don Rogers stand after your run-in with Williams. I've since forgiven you after hearing your voice like an angel. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday. And there's another question. Why didn't you give the ball to Johnny Williams? Can you clear that one? These are the questions we're getting. And they want to know.
Now they want to know. Yeah, well, it was actually our foul, and the ref kind of did like indicate that it was going to be our free kick, because I didn't actually know it was going to be a sending off, but I knew it was going to be our free kick. So yeah, I just kept ball in the heat of the moment. Obviously, Johnny wanted the ball, and I was refused. And obviously, the clips explains the story.
Sure. Right. We're going to let you go in a minute, because I know you've got to go off and get yourself ready, etc. What is your sort of routine before a game then? The day before a game, what is it? Do you go to bed early? What do you do? How do you do that?
My routine, so nothing really interested. I mean, I'll make myself food, or make myself some dinner, and then I'll just chill for a bit, put my feet up, stretch as much as I can. From after I eat dinner, before I go to bed, and in between that as well, I also have an ice bath. And then I just once I have the ice bath, straight into bed, because as you can imagine, legs are really cold and just want to get cozy. And then I just put some TV on and try hit the sack as early as I can.
Good to know. Apart from Swindon, who do you see being a good team this season? That's from Dave.
Good question. Apart from Swindon, obviously we watched some of the games as well, actually, because our game got called off on the way back. We put on the TV and watched a few of the games, and flipped through a few. And every one's looked really good. They look really good. They some good players. They looked really good. They looked really fluent in their play. And obviously they went over to the league favourites, shall I say, and beat them. So they look good. I'll go with MK Dons for now. Obviously, it's first game. You never know. A lot can change. So
sure. A question about Nigeria. Of course, you have Nigerian heritage, and you must have been disappointed for them today. To go out on penalties is never a great thing, is it? But they did you okay, didn't they?
No, they listen. They did the country proud, and like I said, if we're going to go out, we'd want to go out to the favourites at least. And I feel like they put a good performance on to go on and even win the game. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, sometimes when decisions don't go your way, it's just the luck of the tree at the end of the day. But I'm proud of the girls, and it's a bittersweet moment, because I will go and watch England and hope they go on to win it as well.
Well, we wish you well. Thank you ever so much for joining us. How many more media interviews have you got today? Are you on CNN or somewhere like that later? Or is that...
I'll chat to my PA.
Extraordinary. I won't ask you to sing. The internet signal's not brilliant, but at some point we would we'd dearly love you to do that. We dearly love to give us a song, because it is so good. So we wish you well, and we look forward to hopefully tomorrow at Peterborough. If not, your debut at home on Saturday, which would be a fabulous occasion for everybody, because it would be busting to see League Two football again. Thank you ever so much. We'll let you go home, get rested. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Cheers. No worries. There we are. Aduko Godwin Malife, or Dokes, as he's now going to be known. You may leave us, Dokes, if you want, and go home. Can you do that? Yeah, that's super. Yeah. Thank you very much. Henry Port, thank you ever so much for sorting that out. I mean, how difficult has that been today? Because are you inundated with media requests for this?
A little bit, but to be fair to Dokes, he's been really good with it. So he's made it a lot easier in terms of getting them all sorted, and speaking to yourselves today. He's been great. Yeah,
it's great that he's come on this as well, which is fantastic. And as I said to him, it's lovely to get a positive story, isn't it? Because often in football we hear stories that aren't positive, but that is a lovely kind of thing. And we must say to Charlie Austin, boy, how many views has that had now?
Yeah, nice little assist from Charlie there on that. No, but I think to be fair, since I've come in, there's so many different positive stories. I don't think it's just obviously Dokes has been great, but there's been so many different positive to talk about, whether it be, you know, academy successes, women's successes, you know, just the first sort of content where you sort of get to know players a bit more. I think personality is starting to come out, and there's so many positives from when I've come in that I just want to sort of showcase from the media side as best we can, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say you don't work 9 to 5, do you? I mean, here you are, it's what, 20 past 7, and you're still doing this. It's not a 9 to 5 clock on, clock off job, this, is it?
It's fine. I enjoy what I do, so as long as you enjoy what you do, you barely work a day in your life.
So tell us, can you give us any secrets about anything that might happen in the next 24 hours or so? Are we expecting anything?
Well, like the manager's comments of 3 signings by Monday, that sort of sneak that took me by surprise in the presser. What I can say is there may or may not be news quite soon. Depends how things go. So we will play that by ear.
So we'll wait till 8:05 when we finish then, and then it'll.
Yeah,
great, thanks. How do you deal with this? Because on the face of it, there were like 3 or 4 signings all in quick succession. Now, I'm not asking you to give any secrets away, but were these signings spread over a little while, or did they all happen at the last minute?
I think, well, as people might have clocked, I think obviously some might be a bit quicker than others. Some might take more time. I'll give you Tariq's example. I think it was actually came in about, I want to say 6 o'clock, maybe a bit earlier on the Tuesday, and then Wednesday morning we're doing press stuff with him, and then it's all announced by that day. So, you know, it varies player by player, club by club. You know, certain factors and stuff that is way above my pay grade to get involved with. My sense is just when the secretary Jamie goes, we can announce this. It's like, okay, here we go. Then this is what we're going to do.
So how do you go about creating that image then? I mean, my gosh, if you knew that he could sing like he could sing before, it'd have been an easy thing, wouldn't it? You could have done all sorts of stuff. But how do you say somebody signs, Fred Blogg signs? How do you go about creating that kind of image?
Do you mean in terms of the announcements or the videos? Or...
Yeah, the videos, all that kind of thing.
I think it's just sort of playing it by ear and sort of being a bit creative with it. I think obviously the first one that we did with the in-betweeners went down really well. And I think from that, it was just a case of just sort of having a bit of fun with it, being a bit more creative with the media side and producing a bit more hype and excitement for who the player could be, who it might not be. And I also think from my perspective, what I would want to see in terms of a bit more creativity from a media standpoint. So yeah, it just basically all boils down to their name. If I can do anything in a long story.
Yeah, I mean, the one last Friday, I think with Big Ben, that was, I mean, how did that come about? I mean, obviously there's a Ben involved, clearly. So how does that come about?
Well, funny story. So that was told to us about, that afternoon. So I want to say 5 or 6 o'clock on the Friday. And we were like, right, okay, then what can we do that we can do to announce it? So we were just thinking, Ben, what can we do with his name? Can we do anything with his last name? No, not quite. Ben, what can we do? Oh, he's a centre back. He's quite tall. Yeah, let's do Big Ben. That's sort of a well-known thing. So we just had a look for sort of Big Ben in shows, and funny enough, I think it's something like it appeared in Doctor Who like 14 times, so something bizarre like that. So we just looked for a clip on that and tried to be a bit more creative with it rather than just your standard post that you would do with it.
How do you deal with demands from supporters? We're all the same. We all want to know everything, you know, all the time. How do you deal with that?
By being as open and transparent with everything as I can. When fans want to speak to me on social media or email, I'll try and get back to them as quickly as I can. If and when they see me at games, I'll try and do my best to be open and transparent with everything there. I want to be someone that fans can get to know and sort of work with from a media standpoint, because I want them to know what's coming out of the football club. So in terms of that, I think working with the supporters and understanding what they want, what they'd want to be, and what isn't being done that can be done to help from that standpoint as well.
We've got lots of questions coming in. Trust me. Nick says, can you help publicise my prostate cancer march for men with Jeff Stelling? I will be wearing the Swindon shirt with pride. That's something that's obviously coming up. I'm sure all clubs will be publicising that, so that's good to know.
Yeah, send me an email and we can arrange something.
Brilliant. Brad says, keep up the good work, Henry. Loving the content.
Thank you.
Tony says, is it possible for a Swindon newsletter to the fans to keep them updated from the club? Now, there was one that used to come out every week. Are you going to continue with that?
That's something that I'll have to pick up on. I don't know the background to it, but if I can find the right person to talk to, I can see what we can do with it for sure.
Yeah, you
Just
could
give
do
me a bit
that.
of time.
Yeah, you could do that around about midnight. You know, in the 2 hours you've got spare between midnight and 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. I just won't sleep.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. James says, Henry's output with Callum so far has been first class and like a breath of fresh air. Love the behind-the-scene videos too. Keep it up. We're lucky to have you on board. And Jamie says, what's the best player announcement you've seen a club do? Your favourite? And do you kind of take ideas from other clubs? I assume you do, because everybody in media takes ideas from other people.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't think other clubs lying. I said didn't. I had quite a sporting background growing up, so I want to be better than my opposition is sort of how I see it in my head. So when I see them do an announcement with that sort of player, with that sort of dynamic behind it, I think, right, they've done that. How can we better that? So I think it's just the same as being a footballer. I want to just be the best at what we do. I want to bring that to the media side of things here. And in terms of the best player announcement I've seen a club do, well, other than the ones we've done, I think Burnley's are quite good. They're sort of the standpoint in terms of being a bit out of the box with it. I think it just varies depending on the club and the voice of the club and the fans. And there's so many different factors that can go into it. But I think when you've got a fan base like Swindon has, you know, you've got a really engaged fan base that want to see more exciting content and different types of content. So I think, yeah, it's difficult to pin one down for sure. But what I would say is, you know, comments like James's have been really, really good for me and been really helpful and really just, it's made me feel welcomed genuinely. So all I can say is thank you to him and to everyone who's sort of been really kind to me on social media and everything like that as well.
Oh, that's good to know. Dave says there must be players who are camera shy. I mean, I think we sometimes forget. I mean, I don't know how old Dokes is. He's let's have a look. He's 23, so he's kind of a little bit older than some footballers. A lot of these are very young men, aren't they? And suddenly, you know, to have a camera shoved in your face, it's not an easy thing to put up with, is it?
Don't get me wrong. Even for media people, it's not nice to have a camera in your face, but it's you learn to deal with it. I think it just depends on the person and who they are, and obviously people like, you know, Charlie, who's been there, done it. He's experienced. He's fine with that sort of camera in your face sort of thing. I think it varies player by player, but as a player eventually gets older and gets used to all the sort of media training and everything like that, I think it eases and helps them for sure. Are you planning to have media training, interviews, things like that? Well, that's the plan. I'm going to work with the academy and Jamie and Alex and people like that, because in my previous jobs we've done similar sort of ordeals where we go down and ask them sort of hypothetical, tricky questions. So if and when they do come into the first team, they're prepared for those questions and what they might say in response. I think that's really important because, you know, they might go on and be England superstars. So if we could say we played a part in that in their career, then it's only positive.
Yeah. This is from Mitch. Welcome, Henry. Loving the fresh new content. Well done. You're very engaging, and as fans, we love it. Anthony says, what song snippet will be played when we score at the county ground? Now, this has been the subject of some debate over the years. There was the Glad All Over by the Dave Clark Five, which is a Crystal Palace song. And now it's been Senses Working Overtime, which of course is by XTC, a Swindon band. So where are we with this?
You tell me. What do the fans want to see? That's the thing. If we'll play what song wants to be heard. That's the thing. I wouldn't. I'm assuming I'm the person to go to for that. But if I am, let me know and I can pass it on to the right people to sort that.
Well, personal choice would be Senses working overtime because they're a Swindon group and an excellent Swindon group. So that's my choice.
Yeah.
Other
We'll
people
stick with
might.
that.
Okay, that's fine. Not that I'm saying I'm influencing you in any way, shape, or form, but there you go. So how did you get into this then? Because you don't suddenly become the media person at Swindon Town Football Club. There is a background here. How did it all work?
Well, I'll give you the full boring story of when I was younger. I was quite competitive at football, a bit of a keen swimmer as well. So growing up, I sort of wanted to be a professional footballer or a swimmer. Got to the point of finishing college where, it was clear that I wasn't going to kick on with a footballing career. So I thought, what's the next best thing I want to do, as every 16 to 18-year-old does. And I always had an interest in media. So I went there to uni up this way in Gloucestershire for 3 years. When I graduated, went into Aldershot Town, one of the clubs in my hometown of Portsmouth, and 3 years there as the media and marketing manager. Really good to sort of be hands-on with that and get used to sort of working in a football media environment. And then obviously last season I was at Portsmouth for a year, my home boyhood club, and really enjoyed it, learned a lot. And now it's just a case of sort of coming here and really getting to grips with it all and learning, the Swindon environment, the Swindon voice, the Swindon fans, and just producing things that I think hopefully fans enjoy going forwards.
Yeah, getting to know the history of a football club, obviously that's something you kind of have to do. So have you researched it extensively, or are you sort of soaking it in as you go along?
I'm learning bits. It's a bit like learning a new language. You don't want to sort of give it the old big I am. I know every single terminology at the minute. I want to just sort of take it all in. To be honest, once I'm at a football club that I'm in, so I want to learn, and everyone here has been great. I want to learn more about the history. And to be honest, I've actually been speaking to the sort of historians and people like that, the older generation of fans who might know a bit more historical facts and have figures that we can sort of go back on and post as content. Yeah, in answer to your question, yes, I want to learn more, and I'm hoping to learn more. So if you know anyone that would be a great person to speak to,
Well, we'd always be happy to help you. There's no problem here. Gary says the magic roundabout theme, for those old enough to remember it. You wouldn't know what that is. You're far too young for that. But obviously the magic roundabout outside the ground, you've negotiated that, have you? You're okay with that now? You've
easy peasy now.
Yeah, good man. Here's an interesting one from Steve. How would you deal with Harry McCurdy if he was still at Swindon Town? We wish Harry all the best, of course, because he's just had an operation, and we wish him well in his recovery. So you might well be aware of him and how he is. He's slightly different. How would you deal with somebody like Harry McCurdy?
What I would say is I've had players similar to Harry McCurdy in previous jobs. I'm not going to name names because that's not fair on them. But if people want to know in person, I can tell them. No, it's just about understanding players' characteristics and what gets the best out of them. People like Harry, I don't know him personally, but obviously he's quite an eccentric character. So I think working with that eccentric side of him and sort of getting the best out of him to ultimately get him to score as many goals as he can on the pitch is something that I would do. I think obviously they'd have to be a line we'd have to discuss if it was crossed, but obviously it's all hypothetical, so I can't really say more than that.
But footballers, but footballers who are different, obviously fans sometimes stick to, don't they? They do like the different. So, he had a fabulous season with us, and then he went off to Hibernian and didn't work out quite so well there. But, he was somebody who everybody got behind, kind of. So, they do like different, don't they, football fans?
They're mavericks, aren't they? I think, every football club's got them. If you've got a striker that's a bit eccentric but scores 25 goals, you don't care what they do in the nicest way. In the same way, another player plays exceptionally and does all this sort of stuff. Obviously, there has to be a limit with it. And sort of from a football club, having a good reputation outside of that's just as important. But I think you sort of have a bit of leeway with players if they're performing on the pitch as they should be.
You'll be aware that there are lots of outlets for Swindon Town fans. I'm told by Kevin, episode 1, series 3 of the Two Old Duffers is uploading now. That's one of them. There's the Loathe Strangers podcast, of course. Fools Rush In. You've been on the Tom Broadbent Lounge.
I have. Probably get sick.
I mean, is this unusual at a football club, or say at Portsmouth? Were there lots of outlets like that?
Not really, but it's different. It's what makes Swindon Town Swindon Town. I don't mind it. It's fine as long as I can keep people like yourselves and the other podcasts engaged with the club and what we want to do. Then that's what I'll try and do. It's different, but it's what the town club is.
Okay. Steve says, read goal music. How about Gilbert O'Sullivan? And no matter how I try, Swindon's Gilbert O'Sullivan, of course. Okay. Anyway, there's lots of things coming in about it. Maybe we can get Dokes to sing these songs, and then you'd know what they are. That's a good idea. In terms of the squad, how do you? I mean, Charlie Austin's a focal point, I guess. Everybody knows about Charlie Austin. But how do you deal with the younger element? Is there too much exposure? Can you expose players too much?
I don't think so. I think what we're doing at the minute is good. It's a fine, fair balance of trying to get the personalities of each player. So when we do those behind the scenes videos that we do at the training ground now, I do try and get a bit of, Callum obviously helps me with those. But when we're bringing all the pieces together, we try and get a different segment of different players rather than just having the same player doing the same thing, because it's each player has got their own personality, and it's important that we try and express that in a positive way. So, and the players are brilliant. They've all got their own different ways and works of playing football. So in answer to the question about the players there, it varies.
Of course, it all depends on what happens on the pitch, really, how happy fans are. You know that, don't you, as well as anybody? I mean, it's what happens on that green thing on a Saturday. And you know that, after a bad result, people react in one way. After a good result, they react in another. So as the person who deals with the media side, how would you deal with that?
What a loss.
Well, if things aren't going great, we've been through some rough times. Every club has. But how do you deal with that?
You manage the tone of voice of the football club. I think on media, the best way you manage what you put out and when you put it out. That's not to say I'm sort of gatekeeping anything at all, but it's, for example, say we've just lost the game, and then there's something that fans might get a bit agitated by that they might not want to read at the moment because we've just lost a game. Then you sort of have to think about if and when that's acceptable to put it out, both for the person you're putting it out for and then also for the fans as well. I've worked at football clubs where they've had tricky times at different expectation levels. So, even though I've not had millions and tens of years of football media, I think I've had the right balance of managing expectations to fight for top titles, but also fight and stave off relegation within my time within football media. So I know what's expected and how to manage those expectations as well.
Sure. Charlie says, keep up the announcement videos. And I've given you a thumbs up with that. So there we are. Obviously, there's a thing called Wrexham. Mark says, anyone know how many Wrexham tickets are on sale tomorrow? You've got nothing to do with that, have you? You don't know that side of things.
Yes, but I'll probably be way off.
Okay, fair enough. Wrexham at the minute are kind of like, everybody's story, aren't they? Incredible, really. And that in December we'll be playing them at Christmas. There'll be applications coming out of your, for media passes, that kind of thing. It's going to be extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, so during my time at Aldershot, I've been to Wrexham, worked at Wrexham's ground and done the media there and back before they got all this sort of fame from their owners. So I've sort of seen both sides of it now. They're their own club and they're doing great with what they do from a media standpoint. It's to be admired. But for me, I focus more on what I want to do here and how to be better than them in terms of media stuff. Obviously, their numbers are great, but if we can just keep plugging along doing what we do here, then there's no reason why, both media-wise and football-wise, we can't compete with them.
You're going to need a bigger press box for Boxing Day. I think it's fair to say. Has anyone thought about a podcast of a day in the life of a Swindon player, says Andy? Good idea. You are doing background stuff, though, aren't you? I mean, you are doing those sorts of things.
There's other ideas in the pipeline as well. Don't worry.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's a yes then to that. Steve says, have you spoken to Clem yet? Do you have much? I mean, obviously the time difference is always difficult, isn't it, with Clem? But do you have much to do with him?
Yeah, not probably as often as others do, but I've spoken to him, a number of times since I've come in, and I obviously speak to Rob Angus quite a lot as well. I think that's a really important relationship to have, because obviously, Clem will come to me and speak about ideas he's got that he thinks will work, and Rob will sort of echo those voices. And Clem's a good guy. Every time I spoke to him, he seemed like a good guy. So not met him in person yet. Had plenty of Zoom call over the time I've got to know him. But yeah, I'm sure one day in person we'll have a chat for sure.
Sure. Do we know when he's coming over yet? Is there a date on that? No. Okay, fine. In terms of your personal ambitions, what are you hoping for? Where do you hope this leads to? I mean, I know your immediate future is Swindon, and I'm not going to say I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Arsenal or anything like that. But where do you hope it might lead for you?
I don't know. For me, I'm not thinking about it too much. It makes it sound like I'm a footballer who's really important, but I'm really not. I think I want to be somewhere where, the fans enjoy what I do. I enjoy what I do, and the environment's good. So far, genuinely, it's been brilliant. So I can only thank all the fans that have made me feel welcome from a media standpoint. And in terms of long term, I've got, relations and friends and family relatively close to the area. So people might not know, but I'm from Portsmouth originally, and I've got relations in Cheltenham. So sort of Swindon area is quite a nice tie in there. Not that plays a part massively, but of course, it does affect that to an extent. But the real thing is, in terms of long term, I see myself being here for a little while yet. So don't worry. After 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm off to Arsenal tomorrow. I've been signed for 100 million, that sort of thing. How'd you get on with Callum? Because he's an extraordinary character. He's done a fabulous job, and getting on together in a media department is quite important, isn't it? You must work well together.
I hope so. I don't know. No, I think so. Yeah, obviously I can only speak on my behalf, but I think we're quite different at times in how we work, which is quite nice. I don't know if he's listening or not, but he'll be quite people who know him, quite loud and a bit sort of, Callum's Callum. I can't describe him after 3 weeks. That's not fair. But I think we do work well and get the best out of each other. It's not just him; it's other guys we've got involved as well. Yeah, I'll leave that one to Callum to answer. But on my side, we get on well.
Fair enough. That's great. Charlie, well, you've just answered this. Charlie says, how long do you plan staying here long term? Well, you've just kind of answered that. Charlie says, how long till we see the X Factor man on call? Well, Charlie, I'm afraid he's gone. He's been here and gone. So you'll have to watch the beginning of it. Steve, yes, he was here earlier. Steve says, how much do you hate that team beginning with O and ending in D? Well, hate's a strong word, but you're aware of the rivalry, I guess.
Of course. Did you not watch the Batman and Robin announcement with
There you go.
Yeah, we'll leave it there.
We didn't want to mention that obviously Dokes has a connection with that particular city. We thought we'd leave that out for tonight.
Yeah.
So the drone as well, that's a big innovation, isn't it, for people like you? It's a relatively new innovation, but for you to try to be creative, it's an extraordinary thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I've actually got my own one that I bought a couple of years ago now, so I'm not saying we're going to use it today, but obviously I know Matt Edwards in the past has used that to help with announcements. So let's just see what we can do in terms of drone content.
Yeah. What is the best thing about it, would you say?
The fact that you can record on your phone and get it straight away. That's something that I think is quite impressive. Bearing in mind, obviously, it's an expensive bit of kit, but I wouldn't call myself a drone pilot by any means. It's quite an easy bit of kit to use. So, yeah, I think it's just quite an impressive bit of kit, really.
Yeah. Over the Moon County Ground Uncut is back, says Sean. So there's another positive for you. Now take us through tomorrow. What do you do tomorrow? How do you deal with an away day? Do you go with the team? How does that work?
So obviously Callum's based in Swindon. Excuse me, and I'm based in Cheltenham. So we were actually talking about that earlier, how we're going to get to the game. I think for now, what we're going to do is sort of meet at the game rather than traveling together, just because of logistics and things like that. So we'll probably look to be there a couple of hours before, just to give us time to sort of know where we're going, get settled in, meet the right people, things like that. And obviously all the build-up pre-match that I will probably go and schedule straight after this, working late into the night to make sure it's ready, along with Callum and Sam, who helps us out. So if I'm being frank, Tuesday nights at Peterborough, not my favourite, but if we win and we perform well, I don't care. I just want to cover it as best I can and win the game, really.
And dealing with people from the media, I mean, I used to be one of these people who would ring you up all the time and say, anything going on?
Yeah.
You know, you got the delightful Mr. Halls and Mr. Leafield to deal with, people like that. You know, you build relationships with people, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and I like to try and make myself as open and friendly to both the media and people as best I can.
It's slightly changed from my day, because you used to ring the manager up. You know, you directly ring the manager up then. There weren't people, you know, with all respect, like you around. So football's changed in that respect greatly, hasn't it, over the years?
Yeah, giving me a job. Yeah, no, it's good. And obviously I know there's so many different factors to it now that, you know, you wouldn't believe that differs for football clubs. You know, you've obviously got different people for different roles at different places. So I think once you go in there, it's just a case of just going in and understanding what your role is and trying to be the best at that.
Right. And in terms of tonight, you've got what to do? You say you've got a schedule tomorrow. Possibly there might be some sort of announcement at some point in the near future, that kind of thing. So what time would you leave the ground tonight?
Well, just tonight or in general?
Tonight or in general, either one, really.
Tonight, my girlfriend probably won't be best too pleased, but I'm probably aiming to leave 9, maybe spend an hour getting through it all. Give me an hour, half an hour to get back, and then just in time for a late dinner, and then straight to bed and do it all over again. But no, genuinely, I love what I do, and I just want to keep doing it. It's been really good. Yeah, it varies. You know, some days I think when the trend will be a bit easier, a bit calmer. So it can vary, but tonight will be potentially a bit of a late one.
Fair enough. We won't keep you too much longer then. Anthony says, are you interested in encouraging tifos by the ultras or setting out supporter-friendly paraphernalia on seats in certain times / games? I mean, you've seen it in big games, haven't we, where, you know, clubs have put various things on seats and things like that. Are you interested in getting into that stuff? Or is that the marketing department?
Yeah, that sounds interesting to me. I don't know if that falls under my remit, but if I can help with that, I will. It
costs them money, I suppose, as well. That's the only thing, isn't it?
Yeah, which is definitely not my area.
Fair enough. Okay. And tomorrow night, after you've finished, you've got to deal with the press and then get in a car and then drive back. And then is there stuff when you get back to the ground?
I wouldn't go back to the ground. I'd probably go straight home, get a couple of hours sleep and go back at it again on Wednesday. Yeah, so we tend to do what I would imagine we'll do is, depending on how quick we can do it, either finish everything we need to do in the press box there and then drive home, or depending on how the game goes, I have a feeling we'll just one of us drives, one of us does it sensibly, finishes it in there, hotspot 4G depending. So
yeah. Okay, well, the signal's not great, I have to tell you, Henry. So if you can improve the Wi-Fi in the county ground, that'd be really good. Yeah, and you'll be aware of our history in the League Cup competition. Won it once, haven't got through to the second round for many, many, many years. What do you think of tomorrow? Do you think we got a chance?
Was it 2013 the last time? I think something around that. So, I mean, I'm hoping, touch wood, I could be a bit of a new change and a lucky charm to it, but I don't think it'll come down to me. It'd be nice to obviously start off like that. I think the manager's one of the best for that in terms of having a cup run. Yeah, I hope so. It'd be nice to have my first proper professional, game similar to Michael and then players with the win, but we'll see.
And I guess if you got a big draw in a cup match at the county ground, that'd be pretty special, wouldn't it?
You had Man City a few years ago, didn't you? So that,
yeah,
from the outside looking in, that looked amazing. So I'd love to be part of that in the future with the media side of things here.
Yeah, well, we'd love to see that again. That was such a great night. Even though we got beat 4-1, it was Harry McCurdy's goal was just a magic moment. And if you could live that over again, you'd be fine. Rich says, thank you very much, Dee, for the chat. Rich James at the Meet the Manager night. Are you around? You'll be around for the fans forum, I guess, won't you, on the 16th?
If you'll have me.
I think you'll probably be there. Yeah. Things like that are very important to the supporters, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, yeah, that's ultimately what the club want to do, is deliver for what the fans want. So, yeah, if we can help from the media and that side of things from a club standpoint, yeah, for sure.
Well, look, Henry, I'm going to let you go because I know you've got stuff to do. So, you may or may not have something to announce in the not too distant future. We'll see. But thank you very much, Dee, for joining us tonight. Thank you very much, Dee, for getting Dokes on as well on a night when, well, the world, his wife and several cousins want to speak to him. So we appreciate that, Chris, don't we?
Certainly do. And I will hope to meet you and have a long chat with you at some point. I think we over just in passing, don't we? So we'll do
long overdue.
But thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks very much for arranging for Dokes to be on. That was a fabulous. So, thank you, and we might hear from you later then. You never know. All right, and Henry, thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow, no doubt.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, just one little thing before we go. As usual, we have produced the fixture posters for all our members, so they will be ready to pick up on Saturday at the game from the Legends Lounge, and it's normally. And also, as another treat for you, we've got a fixture card. So we've got the men's fixtures in here and also the women's fixtures. So we have those also. So it's you can pick up one or the other as a member on Saturday. We did give some away on the coach on the Colchester game, but if you need one, please come and see whoever's on the table at the Legends Lounge.
And also, we should mention this book here, shouldn't we?
Sorry, yes.
Because mine arrived in the post today, and it's a book called Red Balloons, A Father, a Son, a Memoir, written by Liam Walsh, who we're going to sort of talk to in the not too distant future. It's a very emotional story. You may well have heard about it in various media. So I'm going to get on and read this book. It looks great. So we will be talking to Liam in the not too distant future on this very spot.
Yeah, Liam is on a week on Monday. So next Monday, we're back to our normal Monday night panels. And hopefully Henry can arrange for a player to be on first for us as well. So, so next Monday's Monday night panel. Then we've got Liam Walsh on talking about his book then the following week. So have a good week. We'll see anybody that's going up to Peterborough tomorrow. And hopefully we come back with a win. But other than that, have a good week and we will see you soon. Bye.